Hello, and welcome to the MyBFF Business Leaders Podcast, your new secret weapon for business success. Sponsored by MyBFF Social Media, Marketing, and Advertising. Make sure to hit subscribe. Now let's get started.
Feel like you're just drowning in information online.
Oh, constantly.
You're scrolling and scrolling, and it's just this nonstop flood of news, opinions, ads, everything.
Yeah.
Turns out we're definitely not alone in that feeling. There was a study, I think, showing nearly 40% of people feel totally worn out by it all.
That sounds about right. News fatigue is real.
Exactly. So welcome, everyone, to the deep dive. Think of this as maybe your guide through some of that chaos.
A filter, maybe.
Yeah, a filter. Today, we're tackling something really big for, anyone trying to market their business effectively right now.
Which is?
How social media acting as a major news source is completely changing the marketing landscape.
Oh, okay. Big topic.
Right. So if you're looking for smarter, maybe faster ways to actually connect with your audience in this environment, you're in the right place.
We've been digging into some recent research on media habits, PR trends, trying to pull out what really matters.
Okay, let's dive in. This deep dive is brought to you by MyBFF Social. They help businesses connect with their ideal audience online. Find out more at www.mybffsocial.com.
Great. So where do we start? I think the most striking thing is just how blurred the lines have become. News and marketing. They're all tangled up now.
How so?
Well, think about it. More than half of U.S. adults now get news, at least sometimes, from social media platforms.
Half? Wow.
Yeah. And platforms like Facebook, YouTube, they're not just social spaces anymore. For like a third of adults, they are regular news destinations.
Okay, so people are going there specifically for news, not just stumbling on it.
Sometimes stumbling, sometimes seeking, but yeah. It means your marketing message, your ad, your post.
Yeah.
It isn't just competing with vacation photos.
Right, it's sitting right there next to maybe a serious news headline.
Exactly. And that fundamentally changes how people see it, how they process it.
So if you've got this carefully crafted campaign and it pops up next to a story about, I don't know, the economy or something heavy, the person seeing it is already in that sort of news brain mode. How does that shift things for us as marketers? It feels like the old playbook might not work.
It really doesn't, not entirely. And it gets even more complex, when you look at why people use different platforms for news.
Okay.
So research suggests that people on X, for example, they're much more likely to be actively looking for news when they log in.
Right. It's always felt more news-driven.
Compared to, say, Instagram or TikTok, their news is often something they just happen upon while scrolling for other stuff like entertainment.
So different intentions.
Totally. Which means your marketing approach needs to change, too. A short, sharp, maybe hashtag-heavy announcement. That might work great on X for someone in that info-seeking mode.
But on Instagram?
Might feel jarring, out of place. There, you probably need something more visual, maybe story-driven, that fits the more leisurely scrolling vibe.
That makes a ton of sense. It's not one size fits all. You can't just copy-paste your message everywhere.
Definitely not, especially when people have different expectations for why they're even on that platform at that moment.
And you mentioned the sheer amount of news people see.
Oh, yeah. It's staggering. Studies show for most major platforms, over 80% of users see news pretty much every single time they log in.
Every time. Wow.
So your marketing content, it's automatically part of that news stream, whether you plan for that context or not. It's just there.
Okay, but let's talk about that fatigue we mentioned. People are worn out. And it's not just the volume, is it? There's also the trust factor.
Huge factor, yeah.
We see reports, right? People saying they see inaccurate news pretty often, especially maybe on platforms like X or Facebook. So how do we, as marketers trying to build genuine connections, deal with that skepticism?
This is where, honestly, brand credibility just shoots right to the top of the priority list.
Because people are already wary.
Exactly. The research really hammers this home in this environment of potential distrust and just so much information, being transparent, showing your sources if relevant, being authentic. It's not just nice to have, it's critical.
And mistakes get amplified.
Instantly, a misstep, something that seems misleading or even just, clumsy, it can spread like wildfire on social media and just destroy the trust you've spent ages building.
It's a bit scary, actually. You're trying to build something positive, and one wrong move in this news-heavy context can derail things fast.
It really can. And this all connects directly to whether people actually buy from you.
How so? The purchase decision link.
Think about it. You're constantly exposed to information. Brand mentions, reviews, news headlines. It all kind of blends together in your feed. This creates an ongoing narrative in the consumer's mind. And given how many people see news regularly on, say, Facebook and X, like over 90%,
Yeah.
well, positive coverage or even just a really good, authentic interaction that pops up near some news that can genuinely drive immediate interest, maybe even a purchase.
Okay, I see the direct line there.
But the flip side is just as powerful. Negative reports, misinformation about you, that travels fast too, and it can hit your bottom line really quickly.
So it's not just about broadcasting your message anymore.
Yeah.
It's about managing your story, your narrative, within this bigger, messier information flow.
Precisely. Which, is complex. It's why having support, maybe like the services MyBFF Social offers, can be so helpful. They really focus on helping businesses navigate this social media complexity to connect authentically. You can check them out at www.mybffsocial.com.
Good point. Okay, so given this whole tangled world of social media and news, what are some practical things marketers should actually do? What are the strategic takeaways?
Okay, yeah. Based on the research, there are about 5 key things that seem really crucial right now.
Let's hear 'em.
First, platform-tailored storytelling. We touched on this, but it's worth repeating.
Right, no copy pasting.
Exactly. What works on text-heavy X is just different from visual Instagram or short-form TikTok or video-centric YouTube. You have to adapt the story, the format, the style to fit where you are.
Makes sense. Adapt or get ignored. What's number 2?
Second, real-time monitoring and having a plan for rapid response. This isn't optional anymore. Meaning you need to be listening constantly. What are people saying about your brand, your industry? What relevant news is breaking? You need systems for that. Social listening tools, alerts, whatever works.
And the rapid response part.
If something inaccurate or negative starts bubbling up, you need to be ready to address it quickly, transparently, before it spirals.
So being agile, being aware. Got it. What's third?
Third takeaway is leveraging influencer and community partnerships.
Working with trusted voices.
Yes, in a world where maybe trust in big institutions or even sometimes the news itself is shaky, people rely on voices they do trust.
Right. Could be experts, niche figures.
Or even micro-influencers with really engaged communities. Partnering with them lends your message credibility. It helps you cut through the noise because their audience already trusts them.
It's like getting a recommendation from a trusted friend in a really loud room.
Exactly like that. Okay, fourth is about multi-format content production.
Going beyond just social posts.
Yeah. Look at what publishers are doing. More podcasts, more newsletters, more video series. That's a big clue for us marketers.
We should diversify too.
Right. Creating valuable content in different formats increases your chances of getting seen, getting shared, maybe even getting picked up by publishers and reaching people where they're actually consuming information.
So building a richer content ecosystem makes sense. And the last one, number 5.
Finally, and this ties it all together, data-driven narrative optimization.
Using the numbers.
Yes. Pay attention to your engagement metrics. What headlines actually get clicks? What visuals stop the scroll? Which messages seem to resonate most?
Let the data guide you.
Let the data tell you what's actually cutting through the information overload for your specific audience. Then you refine, you test, you optimize. Constantly.
Okay, wow. So let's recap quickly. The big picture is social media isn't just social anymore. It's a primary news channel.
Fundamental shift.
And that means for marketing, we absolutely have to focus on credibility. We need to tailor our stories very specifically to each platform's news consumption context. And we need to be constantly listening and ready to engage with the conversations happening around our brand or related news.
You got it. Your audience's whole information diet has changed. They aren't neatly separating news time from social media time.
It's all blended.
All blended. So your marketing is being seen through a lens that's maybe more critical, more news-aware than before.
So navigating that isn't just a nice to-do.
No, it's essential. Essential for cutting through, building real connections. And like we mentioned, getting strategic help, like the kind MyBFF Social provides, again, that's www.mybffsocial.com, can really make a difference in managing all this effectively.
Right, so here's something to maybe chew on after this deep dive. In this world where news and marketing are so intertwined, so blurry,
Yeah.
how can you, listening right now, Make sure your message doesn't just reach your audience in that flood of information, but actually builds that deep, lasting trust and encourages them to take positive action.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
Something to think about as you navigate this always changing digital world. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.